stick around for analysis afterwards. I'd love to have you, if you want to.
I'll watch it with you guys, but I am going to be silent, and I'm going to let you guys have the show.
Oh, you can chime in if you want to. Seriously.
Go for it, guys. I'm excited.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It's on Entombed Valley with TSL Polt starting in the top right-hand corner as the blue Terran. You saw him before. You know, he has been on a tear. He has a rivalry with Stefano, also from Team Evil Geniuses, but back then was on Millennium. But still, he's going to be spawning over here. In the bottom right-hand position, we have Sad.
He actually tweeted on his Twitter today. He was feeling sad. He didn't know why.
Aww.
Oh,
this
so
is
maybe
why.
that's why he uses the account. He also has another account called Depression.
Yeah.
On the North American.
And do you know what's
ladder.
awesome? Actually, Sheth has an account called Happiness.
Wow.
Just
and that's actually really
just
funny
to counter
too.
Sad.
Wow, that's really funny. Oh, Chef's such a troll. Of course, Sad is also Huck, also known as Chris Loranger from Team Evil Geniuses Raid Call. Huck is actually doing really well nowadays. He's 4-0 in NASL. He still is relied upon as one of the strongest players in EG for their team leagues. I think he played Ace the other day, and also he qualified for IPL via some of the regional tournaments. So Huck's playing really well, man, and you know he's even winning qualifiers in Korea, which is still very impressive. Huck is not out of commission. I think the way Kevin describes it best is saying, once a champion, always a champion, and I think Huck is no exception.
That's definitely right. I mean, so many times, even I have been victim to this. I count Huck out because he's not in shape, or, you know, I know he has, like, I guess personal problems that he's just not in the zone to actually play StarCraft. And then all of a sudden, Huck comes out and just starts wrecking face. Like, he is one of those players that might not be too consistent, but when he is consistent, he's like one of the scariest players in existence.
Huck?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, man. Huck's early aggression is just brutal. Like, the stuff that he's able to pull off sometimes is just like, wow, no matter what you do in this position, Huck just is able to take advantage of your lack of defense. And it's so funny, too, because Protoss early game is not supposed to be strong. In fact, most statistics, Protoss lose in the early game. If you like ever watch the GSL lower thirds that get pulled up, it's always like win rates after certain minutes. And Protosses are always really low early on, but Huck's one of those players that is capable of swinging percentages on his side because he's a guy who loves early aggression.
That's right, and you know, we've seen him do that against players like Cloud on this map, and he definitely can. He hasn't shown the Nexus, and there it's going to pop out, so no 4-gate aggression coming out from Huck this game. But I didn't actually go over predictions at all with you, Frodan. Who did you actually choose to win this game?
I picked Polt, just purely off a whim because Polt, his TVP is pretty solid. I think Polt actually has some of the most solid understanding of matchups as a Terran overall, from his ability to play Bio TVT, to his Marauder Hellion pushes in TVZ, and even to his Marauder pushes in Terran versus Protoss. I think Polt just has an overall solid understanding. And I think it's a safe bet, although I would love it. I would love if Huck goes 5-0. I would love it if Huck went 8-0 in NASL. Oh, yeah. It's just, it's tough. And also the fact that they're playing on North America right now because Korea server is down does play against Huck's style a little bit. Although Polt's a big micro player too.
That being said, I chose Huck. You know, I actually said to myself, I'm done rooting against Huck. Not that I root against him that much.
The other weeks?
No. I don't really bet against him too often, but there was a point in like Season 2 where I was like, no, Huck's not going to do well. And Season 2, he impressed me. Season 3, he impressed me. And now we're in Season 4, and I cannot go against this guy. It's like voting against a Muslim. Only silly people do it.
Well, Ben's not even listening.
I know. He's playing LOL.
For those of you who don't For those of you who don't know, Mr. Bitter every week says he's not going to pick against the Muslim. And every week he picks against the Muslim. And I swear, if he picked a Muslim, Mr. Bitter would have the highest percentage of predictions out of all of us.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, he seriously has like 4 or 5 losses each season because of it.
So this is going to be a very heavy 3-gate pressure. We can see already Chrono Boost being thrown down, looking to actually bust Polt pretty early here. But Polt has 2 bunkers. That's going to help quite considerably. But the fact of the matter is he does not have a scout to actually see this coming. So SCVs will most likely be force fielded figured out. It just depends. Can Huck actually DPS all these bunkers down in time and start really working on the meat of the army, which is, of course, the Marines and the Marauders? That's going to be the big question. We're going to see that in a little bit.
There's 2 bunkers, though, Andre, and they're in a pretty good
yeah.
spot for repair. If Huck can get the force fields off,
Let's
if he
find
can trap
out.
the units.
Polt, how good is your reaction timing? Doesn't pull SEVs too fast. Great force fields, I think, going down here.
The second bunker is so valuable, Andre, and Huck's not able to break through.
And wow, nice surround actually eliminates every single one of those sentries. That means Huck will have to back up from here. And since there's a single bunker down, even though that seems really minor, that actually stops any potential aggression after this, because you need those sentries to force field out those SCVs, to disable, wow, I'm like stuttering like crazy, to disable as many repairs as possible. And look at that, 3 gateways and a Twilight Council going down.
Very nice choice by Huck. Early blink or charge is not a bad idea whatsoever, especially as Terran gets medevacs out on the field. Now Polt's starting to gas up from here, getting gas number 3. Still pretty lenient on his gas intake because he's still on 3 barracks, but oh, he's adding a couple more. This is Polt playing into, I guess, what he knows about Huck. Huck's a very aggressive player. Most often Terrans can try to get their medevacs out and then start thinking about a 3rd base, but in this case, Polt says, I just want to make units because I don't know if Huck's going to attack again based off Huck's MO.
It actually makes sense because Huck already went for early aggression. That actually stunts the growth of his tech, and from here, he kind of knows, Polt kind of knows that, you know, Huck, you don't really have the ability to go to that AoE, whether it be Colossus or whether it be High Templars. You don't have the ability to get there, so let me go ahead and stick on basic units, not have to tech up so fast, and really try to overwhelm you with the amount of units I can make. And I like that thought process. It's going to work out pretty nicely, but charge is being upgraded, so it looks like Huck is just matching the you know, low-tier army of his opponent and not really willing to stray from gateway units.
Yeah, I think ooh, Polt missing the pylon. Oh, just kidding. He has 1 Marine getting there. And Huck, let's see what he's able to really make out of this. Because again, just like you said, his tech is kind of underdeveloped. His upgrades are also nowhere near starred. In fact, he's got a lot of gas that's intaked, and he doesn't have any Templar archives out just yet. I guess Huck is, I guess he's sensing some kind of imminent attack, especially with medevacs onto the field. This is a very standard time with 2 medevacs.
This is what he's actually anticipating. He knows his opponent is looking to be very, very aggressive. What he wants to do is actually be like a slingshot. Get really far ahead in this first battle, and then make a massive counterattack. I mean, that's what he has to rely on. And a great scan! Whoa. Oh my gosh. And all of a sudden, Polt knows I need to be defensive. Attacking to this position would be terrible. And just wait for my medevac count to really start to grow. And then your opponent really doesn't have a lot going for him. I mean, Huck doesn't have AoE, and oh, he might not have 4 Stalkers in a little bit.
Yeah, he pulls back, but the Guardian Shield also pulls out. A couple of Zealots are charging forward. Can Huck even land any force fields to try to trap him off? But the Zealots, they just do so much damage, and another stim is going to allow more pickoffs here. So Huck is able to get some wins. With the big story is that Polt has a 3rd command center, Judd. Although he's flanking from Zealots from behind because of the pylon as well. Able to do lots of damage. Polt has to stim 1 more time. So many of those Marines are within inches of death, but we see that Polt does, or Huck pulls back just for a moment's breath. He still has an insane amount of gas. I'm waiting for him to transition into Templars.
Yeah, the Templar switch is actually really intelligent to try to eliminate those medevacs, and on top of that actually incorporates some Archons.
Oh, nice. He can force field off this little pathway.
Yeah, nicely done. And that's what he's going to do, making sure his units aren't trapped over there, just denying this natural, or excuse me, this 3rd base. Meanwhile, he's getting his own Nexus, but the fact of the matter is he is behind in upgrades. 2-1 is being started right now, and we only have 0-0. With no 1-1 on the way. So it looks like Huck needs to do a little bit more damage here. If he actually allows more time to actually continue, he's going to be so far behind in upgrades, so his gateway units are going to evaporate.
Well, it goes both ways. If you prioritize Storm ignores upgrades, and as long as I guess if you can keep a Guardian Shield up or 2, you may be able to swing fights, and that's kind of like a principle MC based his PvT on for a long time, where you're just able to kind of take advantage of that. Oh, and Huck's keeping his Templars in the top left. I think he wants to pressure again and flank, or maybe even just directly counterattack. Zealots are going straight to the 3rd, but Polt is making his way to Huck's 3rd as well.
Wow, this is so interesting. So what he's trying to do is actually force all of these units to actually back up. What he's going to do is just be overwhelming in number, and you're going to, you know, just keep kiting all the way back to your main base, and all of a sudden he has 6 Templars ready to actually storm in positions you wouldn't have dreamt. So Huck doesn't really need to keep this base. He's going in for the big kill. He's not really preparing to actually take his 3rd base. Yeah, this is a bait. And now let's go ahead and see how he does. Now the High Templars might actually show themselves.
No, he's going to show himself to one Marine.
Oh, God, Frodan, that's not going to be good.
One Marine suffers the rest of it, and Huck has to storm. He may have to morph some Archons as well or something, but the storms are not useful whatsoever in this scenario, and Huck's plan has backfired, although he's got the units in a very nice spot. A lot of the units will have to stem. Huck also going to try to go for the trap and reinforce it. One pylon does get sniped, but the other one lives. Another scan. Polt knows that Huck wants to flank. Will he be able to get it off? Keep in mind, +2 is about to finish. That's going to be a great spot for the Marines to kite back. Huck setting up another flank as well, but he's engaging with half his army without the other half. Polt's army looks so strong.
And there's just so many medevacs. They can heal so fast. The +2 is about to finish, but it's going to be enough with just one. There are just so many bio units. GG gets called. And Polt will take game number 1. Really well played by Polt, understanding what he has to defend against. But man, you know, Huck could have actually won that. If that single Marine wasn't there, he could have had so many storms caught off guard, and Polt could have evaporated right there.
Yeah, it was all dependent on whether or not Huck was able to push him back. You're absolutely right, Andre. I'm actually curious to see what Kevin thinks about that about that game. Andre kind of made a really good point about the flank and everything, but how do you think even Huck's early game aggression transitioned to mid game? What do you think about his choices there, Kevin?
I definitely think it put him quite far behind, as you guys pointed out, and I really think that everything you guys said throughout the game was spot on. This is a style that MC displayed out a few times. You ignore the upgrades on purpose because you want to land a key storm, but it also means that your strategy has a timing window. Like, you can get away with it up until this point, and on a certain moment you're going to just need some real damage in your army as well. Storms alone are just not going to cut it anymore. Huck had a brilliant plan. Like, if he would have pulled this off, it would have been amazing. Everybody would have been screaming.
Top one on Reddit.
Yeah, and now it kind of backfired, and then it looks a little bit silly, but couldn't land the storms that he was hoping for and that he needed. But I must say, I think Polt overall played very solid.
Yeah, I think a key thing also in that game was the fact that Polt was daring enough to actually go into the middle of the map. A lot of Terrans would actually play a little bit passive,
he
sit
was getting
back.
ghosts out too.
Yeah, and if you sit back, you have to defend the position. That means storms will land beautifully, and you're going to die. Like, you're going to suffer so much AoE because it's like, if I don't defend this position, I lose the bunker, and then he just pushes on in, and my command center dies. But being out in the middle of the map, it says I have a ton of space to move around. I can kite. I can dodge storms, and I'm in a good position.
So
I'm really curious to see how this game would have turned out, though, if Huck would have only imagined set like one zealot from the north to control the Xel'Naga Watchtower rather than those 6 templates. Because then you have a whole different game. Vision is everything. And then suddenly this clumped up bio, because there's no way that Polt would ever expect High Templars to be over there.
Probably be macroing back at home.
Yeah, so imagine like 1 or 2 key storms, and this entire game could have been different. So one minor mistake by Huck, not trying to control the Xel'Naga with a zealot and showing his Templars.
Well, that's kind of the nature of Huck's play. Very tightrope edge. If it could have gone either way, it looked like a genius, or it looks kind of silly. In this case, Polt made him look silly. Game number 1 was brought to you by iBuyPower, the pre-assembled PC company. Go to iBuyPower.com for your own computer if you need those kinds of things. We'll be back with game number 2 between Huck versus Polt. Don't go too far.